Hey guys, today we are going to be continuing the the gun cabinet build from the gun stand that I talked about last time. We got to this point, we ripped down these our 1x6 or 1x8. I'm sorry, our 1x8. We cut down one of the pieces to our stand, and we cut down our huge 6x6. So we are right here. It did not feel like a lot of work, but we did do a lot of work. We're gonna keep ripping and gripping with what we're doing. I'm gonna have a lot more pieces to cut for the circular saw on the circular saw, so we might as well just jump into it. So I'm gonna go in and into the garage, get some more wood so we can keep banging this thing together. So let's get to it. This I think I'm going to use for the back or the front or something like that. It's very straight. I think this could probably take to like a burning or like some sort of manipulation, like a stain or something. I think this could take pretty well to that. So I'm just going to take it outside, fiddle around with it. I do have to deal with the screw holes that I put the screws in for the power hammer project. So I'm going to just go out there and cut it, do stuff with it. So yeah. Okay, so I think I'm going to utilize this piece, this offcut from this piece, and I think I'm going to do this, like do a wraparound with it. I think I might have enough material to just cut this and then put it on the front. I think I might have enough material for that. Let me go look. So this is 17 and a half, and this is 18, basically 18 and a half, so 17 and a half. So I have enough room to cut this, so I can get a panel right there and then a panel up front, and I think that's what I'm going to do for that. Or maybe I could leave this front. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I think because I think this could. I don't know. I don't know what exactly I want to do, so So a lot of this process is going to be basically the same, just cutting lumber with a circular saw and then banging screws into it. So I think I'm going to cut the camera and just work on it, and then I'll show you what all I've got to show. So, and I'll tell you what all I did. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm not just wasting time and flailing around. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So, yeah. All right. So this is where we're at with it so far. I have this big beam. I think it's a 2x6, I want to say. I think it's a 2x6. And it has been screwed onto the back. I took this 4x4 and I cut some 45-ish degree miters on it to add some style. And I'm going to be ripping this board in half to go over the sides. So I did those couple of things off camera. So I'm going to turn around and we are going to get going so we can get a lot more of this done. So yeah. Okay, so this is the board I'm going to use. It is super cupped, or whatever you want to say. And I have marked out on this end where I would like these lines to land, so I could rip it and get them as equal as I possibly can. And ripping it like this down the middle will help with you know, getting rid of this cup or whatever you want to call it. I'm just gonna check what both sides are looking like, and I'll just mark both of the lines so I can just neatly fit the blade in between those grooves. So I'm gonna get these transferred over to this side, and then we'll get all this set up and get ready to rip. So I'm gonna do that. Alright, so we're all set up for ripping. And once again, just as last time we were ripping that big long piece, gonna be very careful with this. Don't want to ruin the wood. Don't want to hurt myself. So gonna be extremely careful. Gonna take it a little bit at a time. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna get to ripping. Okay, so now I'm gonna pilot drill these because they're really thin. These boards are really thin, and I don't want them to accidentally split or anything. So I'm going to go ahead and pilot drill them. No, that's not gonna work. Now let's put a screw in. So bottom is nice and good, I think. Bottom's nice and good. Now the top, I'm just, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't have a lot of material to work around, so I think I'm just gonna use the screw as like a clamp to more clamp the backboard on, since I don't have a lot of material. So I'm going to take this one careful because it's super thin where I'm going to be screwing. And that works. So the gap, not too bad. There is one. I'll have to do some sanding on the inside, but that is going to work. And it'll work pretty well. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side off camera because it's gonna be the exact same thing as that. So all right, so it's looking really, really nice in my personal opinion. Everything is fit. It's working really well together. I am going to have to do a lot of finishing to this because it's pine. This stuff, like what the original stand was made out of, might not be pine, but everything else I'm working with is pine or some other softwood that isn't probably very desirable. So all of this is going to get sanded. It's all going to get glued together with wood glue, obviously. But right now, it's looking really, really nice in my personal opinion. And if I really wanted to leave it like this, I bet I could. But I'm not. I'm going to make it look very professional, make it look really nice, because that's what I want it to be. I'm going to do some thinking, a lot of thinking in my head of what I want and need to do next to get this where I want it to be completely finished. So I need to go through and think some things. I like having this decorative piece up front, this 4x4, and then the huge amount of weight on the bottom, do that big 6x6, but I still don't really like the tip over, like the risk of it tipping over, because it's still super easy, and obviously doesn't help that it is on concrete, this very rough concrete. I will probably take this inside and to test it. I'll test it with a bunch of different guns and stuff to make sure that it's and I'll put it on a linoleum floor so I can trust that it's on a fairly flat surface. But I think I might do something about that. I'm just gonna keep trucking along. Still need to fill in these gaps with something. Need to put a top on it. Need to make the doors. I want to beef up the sides a bit more, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think I'm running out of wood to where I might only make this just one, but if I can make just this just one very nicely, I don't really care if I can't make another one. As long as I can make this one the best it can be, as to be an heirloom piece, I really, really like the way it's coming out right now. So I'm probably just gonna cut it until I get an idea and have all that stuff worked out, and then I'll show you guys what I've come up with for everything. So that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah. Alright, so I made the executive decision that I'm going to put as much wood into this one as I possibly can. So I said that I want more bulk on the sides to make it look nicer, and I think I'm going to rip this big 6x6 down in half and put them on the sides. And so I'm gonna get to laying this out. So I'm just gonna say 5.5. So that's 3 No, that is 2 5/8, I think. Oh my god. Getting sawdust in my eyes. So 3/4. So I marked 3 5/8 and then 3 1/4. So that should be pretty decent to the width of the blade. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark that on either end, flip it over and do that, and then we'll rip it down. And I'm gonna do what I did when I cross cut it. I'm gonna do multiple passes over it to make it easier on the saw and probably keep it safer. So that's what I'm gonna do. Can you guys see that? It's smoking. I pushed the poor thing a little too hard. You know, you can see all the smoke bellowing out of it. And I was at the very end of the cut. I really wish I had the camera on, but I didn't. That sucks. But you can just see how much smoke is coming out of it here. Hopefully you can see that a bit better. You can just see how much smoke is bellowing out of the saw. And this probably wasn't the blade to do this. I was just having so much trouble trying to keep it straight. And I was just pushing so hard sideways and down and everything. I think I'll probably take the blade off of this saw. The blade off. It's unplugged, by the way. But I think I'll take the blade off of this one and put it on the other saw. Because this blade is a bit better. But man, I completely toasted it. So that kind of sucks, but good thing I have two. So I'm going to get the blade off that and put it on the other saw. Okay, guys, so what I'm going to do is this overhang, you can see I'm going to cut straight down it so it'll be flush with this 6x6, and I'm going to make a little hidden door kind of. I'm going to cut this piece down. I'll probably leave those two holes for like a handle or something, so it'll be like this. No, I'll cut it right there so I can put the single handle there, and then hopefully I can squeeze, like make it in, and then put the hinge right there, and then it can come out. So that's the plan. Other than that, nothing has really changed. I've put these pieces on the sides just for a little bit more flair, but other than that, nothing has changed. But that's what I'm going to do now, is I'm going to cut that with the saw, my pruning saw. I don't know what I'm going to do about the 6x6 because both my circular saws don't work now. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I'm just going to have to adapt and overcome. But for right now, I'm just going to do all this and figure it out. This is going to take me forever, but I'm just simply cutting across and going to mess around with either this board or these two pieces. So that's the plan, is just to work around that. So that's the plan. Alright guys, so I got, turns out, because I was cutting that 6x6, so, like, I was pushing so hard, I accidentally tripped the breaker. So I switched the breaker back on. I did get the cut done, but I broke my pruning saw, and I don't have another saw, so I had to split it. So I'm left with all of this broken out on the 6x6. So I think I'm gonna try to do some carving or something with my angle grinder. But I'm really liking the look of this. I got this all done, and I'll work on that, the door for that. But I really like the look of this so far. It looks really, really nice. It has enough differences, like with the wood sides of the panels and these sticking out more. I really like it. It looks like decently professional. You know, obviously we have these gaps that we'll have to deal with. And obviously needs to get sanded and everything, but I really, really like the way it's coming right now. So I'm just going to mess around with all this. And if there's something that I need to show you, I'll just turn the camera back on and I'll show you before I do it. But right now, I'm just going to mess around with it and fiddle with it until I get to a point where I need to show you guys something. So yeah. Okay, so I kind of have a plan on what I want to do with this. Because I just split it and it's all messed up, and I want to make it kind of like good, you know, not just blocky and standard, you know, like a beginner project. I want it to look advanced and everything. So my plan is to kind of like carve this or do something to mask that. So my idea is to kind of burn it and then use the wire wheel on my angle grinder, or use this worn out flap disc to kind of carve it in a way to just like hide it and mask it to make it look like a faux tree, maybe like bark or something, just so I could mask this broken edge. So I think that's my plan. So I'm gonna get my PPE on. I'm just gonna mess around with it until it looks like something that will look good. So that's the plan. That's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So I think that's working pretty well. If you can't see it, I'll show it off a little bit more. I'm just gonna keep doing this, because I'm liking the look of it. It's nice and soft, obvious. So I'm just gonna keep messing around with this. I'll probably tip it on its side so I can work out it a bit easier. But I'm gonna keep messing around with it. Probably show off a little bit more as I get further down. But it's basically gonna be the same thing as that little bit. So I'm gonna cut the camera and show you when I'm done, basically. All right, so here we are. I did kind of a partial burn on the outside. I did a full burn on the inside. It gives it kind of like a shadow appearance, which I really like. I might burn a bit more down there, but I really like the partial burn. And I used that wire wheel to really get into the, deep into the different grains of the wood and really hide the deepness of those splits. So I really like the look of it. It looks rustic, but it doesn't look trashy. I think I might burn this side a bit more to match the more straight grain on that side, but I'm really liking the look of it. It's hiding the pine just enough, but it doesn't look trashy like I'm trying to hide it. It looks natural, in my personal opinion at least. Looks natural, and it doesn't look trashy, because I think most of the time, or at least most of the time that I do this kind of stuff, that I typically burn or char knife handles and axe handles, is to hide little wispies like the split that we did. And it doesn't look bad. That's what I like to go for when I typically do this. The charring process of completely charring it or doing this partial char is that I try to strike that balance. I did take the side pieces out because they're just barely in. But I like to strike that balance of looking natural and nice and still hiding my mistakes. Because typically you find pieces like this and they look gaudy and they don't look very nice. Like natural, I should say. They look nice, but they look gaudy and unnatural. But this one, I really like it. It looks really natural. In my personal opinion, it doesn't look showy or like it's directly hiding something. So yeah, I think I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna keep messing around with it. It will get sanded. It already is fairly smooth. I could just put finish straight on this. I think I might spray it down with some just like vegetable oil, just to keep the like char or the soot on that on those pieces. So I don't know what kind of fish I'm gonna use. If I'm gonna use lacquer or varnish, I don't know what I want to do, or an oil or a hard wax. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet, but all I know is that it looks super, super nice, and I'm just gonna keep working on it, and when there's something new that comes, I'm just gonna show you. So yeah.